What's up and good morning, War Eagle, to everybody out there in the War Report family, man. We are here, morning drop time. It is February 3rd, 2023. We're just here to take your questions, get them ready right there in the live chat. Whatever y'all want to talk about, we're going to talk about it right here on the morning drop. Y'all know how we do right here. Coming at y'all pretty much every morning, but whatever. Let's drop it on them.
You are now listening to the War Report. Drop.
Morning drop time. Yes, indeed. Your man Ike Jones here with B. Will. It is time to talk a little Auburn sports as we like to do around this time every day, man. B. Will, how you feeling today?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Got no sleep, kids. But you know what I'm saying? We here, man. Talk to the people. Let's talk to the people.
No sleep is not a good thing. Hopefully you can take a nap after this. But I see you came equipped with your caffeine ready to get it in for the morning drop.
Gotta do it.
I'm still on my journey to try to get healthy. So I, woke up today, did a little workout. Don't feel any healthier, but maybe it's a process of time. I thought maybe you just work out. I hadn't done it in so long. Maybe thought you just worked out one time and you're like, oh, I feel healthy now. We're good. So whatever. All I feel is tired. So
that's all I'll be feeling, which is why I stopped working out. So
yeah. But yeah, man, we're here this morning. We appreciate you guys dropping in with us each and every time we come in here to do the morning drop. Make sure you go out there and share the video at the War Report on all social media. Hashtag get your weight up so people know what they need to know, which is you are rocking with the War Report this morning. We appreciate those of you who continue to share our content out there and help us to get more people. We're trying to get to that magic number. I'm going to stop talking about this because I feel like it's a watch pot at this time. It's never going to boil. So I'm going to stop talking about it. But we do still want you guys to like the videos for sure. Subscribe to the videos. And just keep people talking about what's going on here at the War Report. We need your help to continue to grow so we can keep out here being able to do this kind of stuff. Because, listen, man, if y'all don't help us, I'm going to go get a job again. And, I'll just holler at y'all on Wednesday nights or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. It's not a threat. It's like, don't threaten me with a good time. I get off of the YouTube. Some people probably feel like that too. It's like, why don't you just go get a job? People say stuff like that in our comment section. It's like, instead of begging for money and subscribers, why don't you just get a job? It's like, all right, dude, because you hate your existence. Don't come here and rain on my parade.
I mean, we talking football, man. What's wrong with you?
Anyway, man, yeah. So today, man, as we're trying to get into the mode on Fridays, we want you all to come in here ready to ask us questions about what you want to hear about, so we can talk about those things. But the most, I guess, pressing thing on a lot of Auburn fans' minds is the commitment potentially today from Phylon and Walker, right? So Walker,
Right.
the quarterback, Walker White. Is about 3 hours away from commitment time, 3.5 hours, something like that. A lot of speculation is that though there are 3 teams on that list, it's coming down to Auburn and Clemson. He took his junior day visit to Clemson. So a lot of people feel as if that, that is telling that he would skip Auburn's junior day and go to Clemson. And it could be the opposite way. He might have been like, man, I feel everything I need to feel from Auburn. Let me just go get one last look over here at Clemson and see if they can change my mind. So we'll see here around noon, in that noon hour, whether or not he's decided to go to Auburn or Clemson. I think that is I did take a look at some stuff from his highlights from high school last night, since people have kept asking me about this. He looks good. He's got a good, strong arm, quick delivery. The one thing that I will say is it did look like he was significantly bigger than everybody else in every clip. And he's a 6'4" kid, I think. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not looking at his measurables right now. So he's a tall kid for a high school kid, but he looked bigger than everybody else. So the arm strength stuff, that's going to translate regardless of how big everybody else. It's the windows he's throwing into that are going to be different, right? So because he has a quick delivery, I don't necessarily worry about that because he was making quick decisions, getting the ball out of his hands. He looks like the kind of guy that would run a Hugh Freeze offense or a Philip Montgomery offense, just out of the shotgun, ball in, RPO style, quick slant stuff. Like he looks like he looks like the prototypical kind of guy that you would want to run an offense that is we're going to get the ball out quickly to playmakers. So liked what I saw from that standpoint, but it's the running stuff that I was just like, I don't know how fast you really are when these kids look like they're about 5'8" and you're 6'4". Like I just
Right.
you running past little kids right now. Like so.
And then you got to wonder about, yes, it can look like you've got that dog in you because you know that the hit that's coming won't hurt.
Mhm.
But that's not the same when somebody's barreling down on you that's got 50 pounds on you and they're just as fast as you are, faster. Like it's a different story. And I don't think that's why I think a lot of quarterbacks don't translate to college, because in high school, you can just be a stocky, stout guy at the quarterback position, have enough weight on you, enough height to where you're lean and you can kind of just sliver away from people because they aren't quite as fast as you for the most part. Maybe you come up against one or two teams in in your region or your state where they've got some players that can kind of keep up with you, but you don't have to really think too hard about making that throw or standing in the pocket that long, because you can get away with it. You can stand in there a little longer because you can take the hit, or you've got your receiver is better than the other team's secondary, so he's going to get out there, he's going to make a catch that most receivers wouldn't make on if all the talent was equal. But all of those advantages just get wiped away, and we see every year there's somebody who looks otherworldly in high school who comes to college and they struggle. And it's
Right.
because everything isn't just ready, set. Everything isn't tailored for you to just succeed. And when you get put on the field against equal competition, like you can do all the camping as a quarterback, all the QB camps, you still not going to have a defensive end rushing at you. You're not going to
Right.
have a 290, 300-pound tackle that's just crashed the line in the middle and now he's barreling down on you straight up. You can't simulate that. You can't replicate it. If it's a defensive end and he's going against small guys his whole high school career, but he's going to go to those camps and he's going to go against the best left tackles in the country. He's going to go against the best right tackles out there. Quarterbacks, you don't know if this guy is real until he gets not even in camp at college, because they can't hit you. When can you get hit? That's when we find out if they're for real.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, feels different when the pressure is real, right? So, definitely looking forward to seeing what happens with that commitment. I think that is going to be an interesting thing um,
Mhm.
coming up here. The other guy, of course, that everybody is anxiously waiting on the commitment from is LeBaron. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I keep saying Philon. It may be Philon, Philon, whatever it is.
Mhm.
But he is the number 5, I think, point guard in the country
Mhm.
and the number 1 in the state. And there's a lot of buzz around this guy. He is a 6'3" guard um, out of Mobile. And apparently, JG was talking to us last night about him. Apparently, he is a scoring machine.
Yeah.
So if we're able to bring in Aiden Holloway, we just got what's the kid's name we just got the other day?
Oh, what
We
is
just
his name?
the left-handed kid.
Yeah, I need to go back to look at the.
If we get 3 guards is all I'm saying in this uh
Well,
and
this guy's
3
24. The guy we got the other day was 24,
yeah,
and
but
the
I'm
guy
just saying
committing
though,
today is 24. Yeah, yeah.
if we get 3 guards coming up in the next couple of years that are scorers, that backcourt transforms in a tremendous way as far as scoring ability is concerned. So looking forward to seeing how that one goes down. Speculation is that he's leaning towards Auburn as well. So um, could be an amazing day in recruitment land for both Auburn basketball and Auburn football. At any rate, we do want to talk to you guys. So give us some questions. Y'all come in here. Y'all be wanting to listen to us. I hear that now. We're gonna quit. We're gonna cancel Fan Question Friday. Because every time y'all don't come in here and ask me no questions. But it's all good. I don't mind talking to y'all about whatever it is you want to talk about. But we do have a couple of comments. Before we get to those comments, though, we do need to acknowledge the sponsors of our morning drop, and that is Rogue Shop, rogueshop.com. You guys already know what's up, man. Listen, it's coming to that time. I feel like we don't get a break from holidays. Like it's just we were just at Christmas and now we're already at Valentine's Day. Like it's just unrelenting holiday seasons in which there are people wanting to take my money. But a good place for you to spend that money is Rogue Shop. So head to rogueshop.com. Use code report to get 10% off of your purchase. If you want to take the Mike G approach and turn your room into a space where it looks like you're supposed to be doing Gregorian chants all day, or you're going to be trying to resurrect the spirit of a loved one and have candles all over the place, then Rogue Shop is the place for you to be able to have that look. I'm not saying you should do any of those things. I am saying that you would have that look. You know, 80s R&B video, whatever you want to make it look like, you could do that with Rogue Shop. Rogueshop.com again, use code rapport, tap in with them for all of your herbal supplement needs, bath salts, just whatever you need. Go over to check them out. Make sure you guys keep tapped in here with the War Report. Share the video, like the video, all of the necessary things. But let's head over here to the comment section to see what you all are talking about today. We will start the comments with Eric Pearson, who says, War Eagle, everyone. Auburn is listed at number 11 in recruiting nationally. I don't know which recruiting site this is referring to because there are different sites. That's great, but there are 4 SEC teams listed ahead of us. Shouldn't we be at 1 or 2? We will achieve that. Will we achieve that by next year? Shouldn't we be at 1 or 2? Let's start with that one. Be Will.
We should not. We should not be at 1 or 2. And well, let me answer this question. What I think you're asking: shouldn't the team that we root for, the team that we invested in, be the best at whatever we put our hand to? And recruiting in football is one of those things that we are in the game of. So should we be the best at it? We would love to be the best at recruiting and play on the field, and how much money the program brings in, and getting recruits to the NFL and having those recruits succeed at the NFL level. But we have to understand where we are. Auburn has never been the best recruiting football team in the country, and we have never been the best recruiting football team in the conference. We have never been that. We are not the strongest brand of football in the conference. We are not the strongest brand of football in the state. We are not the strongest brand of football in the 2 states, that the one that we're buddied up right next to and the one that we're in. So Georgia and Alabama have traditionally been better recruiting teams because they have bigger brands. Georgia is, I don't know why Georgia fans were so big on Georgia in the state of Georgia, because they hadn't won jack for a really long time before Kirby got there.
Right.
But I mean, it's the state school, and because of how big football is in that state, kids get raised under the religion of Georgia football, and it carries weight to when they start succeeding in high school. They start thinking about where they want to go. We don't have that mystique, and what it takes to get that mystique. This is actually a really, really interesting question. You have fans of the Chicago Bulls who grew up and came into liking basketball. 2 of them, well, at least one of them is on this panel right now, because the Chicago Bulls were the absolute monster of a team when, in formative years, when you are starting to get to know the sport and you realize, oh, I think I like this sport.
Well,
That team is
let's be
dominating the
clear.
sport.
It wasn't just because Chicago was good. Not just because of that. It was
Okay.
because growing up, we didn't have cable. And WGN, we could get that
Oh yeah,
on just your normal non-cable
That's right.
situation. So I could watch Bulls games. That was the only team I could just go and watch on
That's
TV.
true. I
was the
forgot about
Bulls.
that.
Yeah, so because they
Why
broadcast
was the Chicago network
I have
for
no
free
idea.
in Alabama?
We are literally next door to Atlanta, but we had WGN here in Birmingham. Made no sense
remember that.
whatsoever, but I could watch Chicago Bulls games. So I fell in love with the Bulls because that was the team I had access to watch whenever I wanted to. And then they just happened to be really good.
Yeah. So you have these fans. There are fans who are 49ers
Didn't work for
fans.
the Chicago Cubs, by the way. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, man. There are fans who are 49ers fans, football fans, for their entire lives, because when they grew up and started realizing, hey, what is this sport? I like it. The 49ers were dominating. The same thing for Dallas. Dallas Cowboys have, if you listen to ESPN, you hear Stephen A. Malcolm. The success that they had in the middle of the 90s earned them fans up until now, and they have won nothing since the mid-90s. The same thing for, of course, the Bulls. The Warriors have done that. They're going to have fans for 25 years now
These
because
new
of the
fans
run.
different though. They follow players around more than they follow teams.
They do. But the Warriors core is all Warriors, and I doubt any of them leave to do anything significant. And I think that they'll be Warriors fans for a really long time. The same thing with the Lakers, right? If you were a Lakers fan in the 70s, you had the resurgence in the early 2000s with Shaq and Kobe, and then Kobe did a couple on his own. When you do big winning, you create a national brand and you create fans across the country. There was actually a guy that we knew, rest in peace, actually, he passed a few years ago. He was a Nebraska football fan. And he was a huge Nebraska football. I'm like, why are you in Nebraska? Because his formative years of liking college football, Nebraska was really good. And of course, we were Alabama, Auburn, and everybody else, but he was a Nebraska fan. We have not had the sustained success at any point in our program's history that created national identity and awareness of us, where every time the spotlight was on us, we continued to win. We bemoan how much Notre Dame gets favored by press, by media, and by some fans. They had it. They had that sustained success for several years. When the media spotlight was on them, when the fan spotlight was on them, in order to reach the level of recruiting and brand identity in the minds of not only people in this state, but people outside of the state, people outside of this region, we have to win. You earn it by winning, and winning consistently. You can win one with a Cam Newton. Great. That's a short-term bump. You get a short-term bump and you get the opportunity to go out there and prove that it wasn't a fluke.
Right.
Unfortunately, we could not do that. We made it back, but we didn't win it. And we haven't done anything really since then. In order for us to get to the point where we are mentioned one or two, to where it's just, oh, well, they're Auburn, so you know they're going to win. That is earned from years of success. We're talking 5 straight playoff trips, and you win 2 out of 3 of those championships, and you're getting to the championship game 2 other times. That type of success will get you mentioned with the heavyweights, and go through some of these heavyweights to do it. That's really what I like about being in our position. Everybody's like, oh, we got to play Georgia and Bama, and our schedule's all hard. It's like, yeah, our schedule's hard, but you also get to slay 2 giants at one time. If you can do it, like 2017 was a really good year because of that. Now, we couldn't finish the deal, but imagine what type of identity you create for yourself of beating Nick Saban, beating Kirby Smart, lining up against that team, beating them again, and then you go on to win a championship. Now you're legendary. Once we start doing that, I think our resources are here. Our alumni base is, of course, they make a lot of money because we have some very good academic programs at Auburn. They go out, they make money, they give back. We give back. That's why NIL is popping right now. That's why we got so many eyes on us right now. We have to do something with it.
Yeah.
We have to do something with it. Once we do, maybe we can compete for first or second in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly. I don't think that we should be right now. We haven't earned that space. We're working hard to get there. Will we achieve that by next year? That's a difficult proposition as well because of what you just said. These 2 teams that you're having to conquer for 1 and 2 in the conference are juggernauts, and just having a will to isn't necessarily going to get you there. You got to go prove it on the field. So we go out there and we beat one of them next year. And we continue to have guys look in our direction and say, okay, well, why not Auburn? That's kind of been the theme of this offseason. Why not Auburn? If we get into that space, and we can start to turn some heads, especially if our NIL situation continues to produce in a high level.
Yep.
Haley jumps in and says, he went to Clemson's junior day. Don't like that. Speaking of Walker White.
Yeah.
Matt Reeves jumps back in. I get worried every time I hear about a QB from Arkansas. That's fair.
Kyle Frazier, baby.
Haley Tubbs, Valentine's Day is made up mess. To be fair, literally every holiday is made up mess.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not a historic reason for the holiday, like the 4th of July, it's made up.
Yeah.
I mean,
even Christmas being in December, because I
made
think they did the dates and like they tracked it, and that's not the
that just arbitrarily
date.
was like, this the day we're gonna celebrate this. Yeah,
Right,
every holiday's made up. So
yeah,
You just take it for what it is. P-Pass jumps in. My pitch to Walker White. Do you want to face our DBs?
He's gonna say no. I'm going to Clemson.
Yeah, I just if he goes to Clemson, unless he meets us in the national championship, he won't have to worry about that. So Don Cullen jumps in here and says, well-developed 3-star can/will outperform a 5-star just playing on talent. Hopefully, Coach Hugh Freeze will be the difference maker, recruiting and development.
For sure. I mean,
I absolutely believe this.
Jarquez Hunter, I think, is, if he's not the top 3, he's the best running back coming back next year in the conference. There are running backs at Bama that got on the field. I was like, I don't know. All I know is you get a 5-star back every year, but I haven't really been impressed by a Bama running back since Josh Jacobs. I don't know. Y'all out there, y'all doing something. Jameer Gibbs was good. I don't think he's necessarily better than Jarquez. I think he got more opportunity, a better offense, and a better quarterback. So yeah, you get to shine, man. You can't really measure a guy's potential just off athletic ability. They can go to camps, they can get measured for their height and weight and speed, but you can't measure their will to get better in those little things that make them different from other people, man. But to be able to find that 3-star, that's the challenge. They're out there. You got to find them.
They're absolutely out there, and the challenge definitely is finding them. But I like the commitment of this staff to just, hey, we're gonna go visit everywhere, give everybody a look, and we'll see what we can find. Mesa AT Alien says, War Eagle, how do you think we will fare against Tennessee? It's gonna be a tough one. I'm not gonna lie to you. The thing with Tennessee is they are just as sporadic offensively as Auburn can be. So it's going to come down to, in my opinion, if Auburn, and this is really what it comes down to every game for Auburn, take care of the basketball, meaning don't turn the ball over a lot and rebound well. You rebound well and you take care of the ball. You play good enough defense that you should be able to limit them as well. So, turn it into a muddy brawl and just take care of the basketball.
Yeah.
You don't give a bunch of silly turnovers and you limit the number of easy possessions you're giving them, live ball turnovers. You put yourself in a better position to play good defense on them. How Georgia started to come back in the game. Well, they didn't come back. Let me stop. They never really got inside of 20 points. But how they were starting to score in the second half was early offense. They were getting the ball out early and they were shooting early threes and they were making them in the second half. Tennessee's not necessarily going to, fog it up with threes, but they will try to get out in transition if you give them the opportunity to, because they play good defense. And because they don't score particularly well, that's what they're going to try to hang their hat on. In the half court, though, they're big. Tennessee it's not Georgia we're playing against. They've got legit 7-footers in their front court. So it's going to be a game of who's going to bring their hard hat. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Haley says she feels personally attacked by me. Some of us just like candles. I don't have a problem with you liking candles. I'm not trying to attack you. You're in love with candles. I'm actually more so making fun of Mike. So don't feel attacked. That was a stray that you caught right there. Bankroll Blockade says, man, I finally woke up to catch one of these. What time zone are you in that you are just waking up at this time? I'm hoping it is out west, or you work or be up really late, because I've been up since 5 something my time. So that's no shade. Listen, if you're able to sleep in, then God bless you and whatever you're doing with your life.
Yeah.
Jaquan Grant says, do y'all think Javarius Johnson is a sleeper because he was one of my impact players last season and will be my impact player this coming season? Thoughts on this one, B?
I like Javarius Johnson, man. He seems to be able to get open. He seems to be sure-handed once the ball gets to him. Our offensive line couldn't protect enough. I did think him and TJ had some good rapport last season early. And I think that's what you're going to get from him. You're going to get JJ getting open and being available to catch a pass. Now, I don't know what the slot position does in Hugh Freeze's offense. I can speak more to that than me. But Javarius Johnson has all the ability. It's whether or not Hugh Freeze will emphasize that ability. I don't think there's any offense where you can't use a quick, fast, small receiver and mix it up with the other skill position players that you have on offense. But does Hugh Freeze emphasize that? I don't know.
Yeah, I think the question about him being a sleeper. I don't know that anybody's necessarily sleeping on him. He had the most productivity from the wide receiver position last year. I think maybe people are overlooking him from the standpoint of like literally overlooking him because of his height, right? And they're very hyped about having these big receivers, that Hugh Freeze was able to employ in his Ole Miss days. So they want to get back to, as Auburn fans, the days where we're having those big body targets to be able to throw the ball to. But what he provides is the deep threat, right? And I don't know that any of those big guys are, Mardner, people are saying he can get out, he can get up, he can get out there and really take the top off as well. So, it's going to be difficult if you've got a guy who's bigger and can run fast, whether or not JJ is going to get the same kind of opportunities. But I think that the spring will tell all, right? Like it will tell all as to whether or not he's able to go out there and from a mental standpoint, grasp what they're asking him to do and be a guy who can be consistent in doing the little things that they're going to need for him to do in that wide receiver room. But from a talent standpoint, I don't think there's any doubt that he's talented. To your point, sure-handed. He doesn't really drop the ball when it's thrown in his direction. Sometimes he makes catches that he probably even shouldn't make.
Yeah.
So definitely looking forward to seeing what will happen in the spring in that wide receiver room. Appreciate the super chat here from Lisa Daniel, who says, what is the QB situation looking like at Georgia? They've got a couple of 5 stars just sitting there waiting. All right. Carson Beck was their backup quarterback last year. They've got Brock Vandergrift there sitting on that bench. And I can't recall the other guy's name, but they've got 3 pretty highly touted quarterbacks just kind of sitting there waiting to duke it out during the spring to see who's going to emerge in the top 2. I don't know if they're going to be in a situation where one of those guys is willing to wait his turn, right, and just let the other guys do what they do. But I would suspect in this era of the transfer portal that whoever's third on that depth chart hits the portal. So,
and I was thinking about this the other day. We kind of take for granted what Stetson Bennett was, which is a guy who had really no reason being as good as he was, and he wasn't even as good as he was when he first got on the field there. I remember his first game against us was 2020. And he juked one of our defenders pretty well in that game, but he wasn't amazing. He wasn't outstanding. It was kind of a perfect mix of they got him some great pass catchers and route runners with the tight ends and the wide receiver, and they also got an offensive coordinator who he got to stay there and play under for a long time. And he grew up. I don't even know if Todd Monken's still going to be there. Didn't he interview for that Tampa Bay OC job?
Yeah, he is. Speculation is that Todd Monken is looking to potentially go back to the NFL where he came from. So we'll see.
So a lack of continuity hurts players. Continuity, you see the same coach year in and year out. You know what he wants from you. You know the playbook. You know the calls. All of that helps. Georgia's going to take a step back because you don't have somebody who's had significant on-field experience. Offensively, a step back doesn't mean they're going to suck. It just means they're not going to be as good as they were with Stetson running the show. So they might have the quarterback talent. That quarterback talent has to grow up unless you've truly got a transcendent talent. You've got a Deshaun Watson or a Trevor Lawrence or a Bryce Young there who after a redshirt year, you can just step in and be that dude. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. But traditionally, Georgia has not had that. They've had QBs that they bring in, coach them to stay on schedule, play under control, and let the running game of the defense do the rest. This past season, they finally got to say, hey, we think you got it, Stetson. So we're just going to unlock this thing for you. Georgia won't have that next year. No matter how good their 5-star talent is, you still need time. You can still be a 5-star and go out there and get bamboozled and undressed because you haven't seen what these defenses are going to throw at you. So they might have the talent, but they don't have the experience at that position. They'll take a step back. Now, that defense might get better. I don't know because it's Kirby and he can do that over there. So who knows what we'll be looking at.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that develops, especially with the situation with Todd Monken. Another super chat here from Hugh Rayleigh. He jumps in and says, "Appreciate the super chat. Fans need to be thankful we have a staff that did so much to bring talent in to compete. Seems like some are expecting top classes right out the gate. Give them a year or two." Listen, man, fan expectations are always high. Definitely not upset at anybody for having high expectations, but I do think that sometimes we have to temper those expectations and have some patience.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, I told y'all I'm tired of, well, not tired. I have retired. I'm not tired of it because I got plenty of energy for it. I have retired from telling people to calm down. Y'all can do what you want to with your energy. I will do what I do, which is I'm gonna chill and I'm gonna wait and see what happens. But hey, if you wanna be all riled up and go for it, I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna be the one to hold you back. To you, boo. To you. Wardam Dad 95 says, listening to yesterday's video, it was brought up where most eyes should be for a battle, assuming the obvious QBO line. What about the wide receiver room? Who do you want on the field week 1? I don't have an answer for that today. Who I want on the field week 1. I want to see who emerges from that competition. I'm just intrigued by the what I perceive to be depth at the wide receiver and defensive back position. What I perceive to be a sneaky good battle at O-line with the guys that they've brought in versus the guys that have stuck around or had been here previously. And then what I perceive to be an interesting situation in the quarterback room because of really the drastic differences in the talent and experience that room holds. So, I am not putting my money on a particular horse right now. I want to see him go out there and fight for it because I think the tenor of what the competition means under this new staff is going to be different.
Yeah.
I think everybody's still going to come in and say, hey, we want to all get better. But I also think that guys are just going to they're going to demand a little bit more from some of these guys. And that's going to change what that competition looks like. And it's going to be interesting to see what comes out on the other side.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Agree with that.
Haley jumps back in and says, this concept is why I'm an Auburn fan. Speaking of, the surroundings of where you came up, my formative years were the early 2000s. I'm literally from where they make the Bama fans. You're from the
Tuscaloosa,
the trash heap. My whole family, with the exception of my brothers, is Bama fans.
Yeah.
I apologize for you having to deal with that in your formative years. That does sound literally like how they interrogate prisoners at Guantanamo, is forcing them to say, I can't even say it, RT over and over again. It's almost like if I can imagine the indoctrination of Bama fans being something like tarrying at the altar. If you went to like a Pentecostal church where they just make you say Roll Tide over and over again till you're foaming at the mouth. And then the spirit of Bear Bryant enters you and you drink from the cup of I don't know, elephant blood or whatever they do over there. I don't have any idea. And
somebody gonna turn on the channel right here. Like, what the hell are y'all talking about?
It immediately lowers your IQ a couple of points. You're doomed to have bad sports takes for the remainder of your life. As long as the sport take includes Bama's the best, it doesn't matter how you get there. It's just all bad. So yeah. Bama fans they don't have the worst takes, but they have some pretty bad ones. They're like reaching really like it ain't it. Like Auburn fans troll people with takes to be like, yeah, Auburn's the great. Like we troll on purpose. Like Bama fans actually believe the dumb stuff they say. Like I've had conversations with them. I'm like, you really believe this? Like you're not joking right now.
Disillusioned, yeah.
Like you fundamentally believe every stupid thing you just said. And that is so sad.
Yeah, we all know some. It's an issue. It's an issue.
But yeah, anyway, I appreciate you guys jumping in here. We'll take a couple of more. I did see a few more in here. Matt Reeves jumps in, said Trey get a few more minutes going forward. I'd like to see him get 12 to 15 minutes at the point. I'm a fan of what Trey Donaldson has done so far this season. I think that because of how teams, we talked about this a little bit last night with JG Tate. Go back and watch the midweek report, the special Thursday night edition, if you want to hear that conversation. Because of how teams are starting to trap on our pick and roll, Trey Donaldson, I think, handles that a little bit better because he's a little bigger. And they don't trap him as aggressively because he is a little bigger. I think it's interesting that the freshman doesn't get trapped as hard as the junior point guard, but I do think that I usually do extended full court pressure a little bit more with Trey in the game, but they will trap in the half court a little bit more with Wendell at the point. But anyway, yes, I think Trey should get more minutes just because I think he's a stabilizing force for us. He's not the scorer or the distributor that Wendell Green is, but he is a solid point guard that can distribute. He just needs to be able to give us more points from that spot. If he's not going to be a 7 to 8 assist person in those 12 to 15 minutes, then he's got to be a double-digit scorer guy in those 12 to 15 minutes. He's got to give us one or the other. So he needs to balance that out a little bit more. It can't just be he doesn't turn the ball over, which he doesn't do a high level of turnovers because the offense still needs to score points while he's in the game. But yes, I'm a fan of him getting more minutes as we get down the stretch here because these are valuable minutes that will pay dividends in case, you've got Wendell Green in foul trouble or whatever, and you need him to come in. So let's see here. There was one other one that I saw in here that was a question, and I can't find it. Right here it is. Omar Turner says, do you guys think this year's Iron Bowl could determine who represents the West in the SEC championship? Appreciate the chat there, Omar. Potentially. I mean, listen, you got to go through LSU, and as bad as Texas A&M was last year, I don't anticipate that they're going to have repeat season of being that bad.
No, they're not that bad.
I'm not really, and this is going to sound disrespectful, but I do disrespect them a lot these days, worried about Ole Miss. And I'm not super worried about Mississippi State. Arkansas, I think, is going to take a little bit of a step back because they're losing their offensive coordinator. They are trying to get the T-Will defense installed and all that sort of thing. So we'll see what they're going to look like from a defensive standpoint, but they lost some experience on the defensive side.
Right.
So, I think it's fair to say that the strong contenders in the West are going to be LSU and Bama. If LSU can continue to do what they build on what they did last year. So that would mean that Auburn could be up there in the top 3 if we handle business in all the rest of those games. So the question comes down to if the Iron Bowl, that means that you've handled business against LSU, right? You handle business against LSU and you beat the rest of the guys that are on the schedule that you're supposed to beat, or whoever thinks it's going to be a toss-up, blah, blah, blah. I think you're supposed to beat them at this point in time. We'll see. But yeah, with Texas A&M having a new play caller, we have no idea what Petrino's going to provide for that offense. And they've got a ton of 4 and 5 stars everywhere on that team. So Texas A&M's kind of the wild card in that scenario for me. So we'll see. Could be, but I'm not ready to say that right now until I see what we look like rolling out of spring. All right, that's it, man. We're going to get out of here. We appreciate you guys jumping in here with us. As always, make sure you continue to share the content, like the video before you leave, because we want to make sure that we're getting those likes up. And let somebody know about the War Report. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it. As always, we thank our sponsor, Rogue Shop. RogueShop.com is where you go for your herbal supplement needs. America's #1 online dispensary is the Rogue Shop. Make sure you head over there for all of that stuff that you're going to need. We're out of here. We will get back with you guys tomorrow. Auburn, Tennessee, in Knoxville.
We'll
see how the boys do with that when Bruce and company heading up to Knoxville to try to take out a top 5 team. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully we have a couple of commitments that will be dropping in here today at some point in time. Until next time, and as always, War Eagle, we're out of here. Peace.